Hello, everyone. Greg here. Just wanted to tell you congratulations on getting through week one. It went very well. I'm pretty pleased, and you should feel good about that too. Just broadcasting here from the office, and winter started in Oregon. It was pretty rainy all day, and although I got out this morning on my bike, and I love riding, but it's going to be 4 or 5 months before we can do that at any intensity. Winters are pretty long here. So anyway, but it was a good day. It was a good week. Let me just go over a couple things. First of all, make sure you read the late work policy, which is now attached in there to the course. And I'm going to read it too. They just revised it. And I'll make sure I go over it. But just so everybody's clear, what I usually do is on Wednesday night, I go in and I assign points for the Monday, Tuesday, first part of the week posting. And what I do is when I go in and I look at your posts, try and respond to everybody. If I don't get to everybody, I try and look for themes and answer questions. But if I ask you a question, really you should be going into the discussion boards about every night. And so if there's a question for you, or I say, Sue or Bob, could you kind of clear this up? Go in and redo it. There's no problem. Just redo it, answer the question, think it through, and you'll get full credit. But you really can't treat the discussion boards as if I made my entry, okay, I'm done, I'm moving on to the next one. You got to go in there every week and look at the new learning that's coming out. And maybe a classmate will have a question for you too also. So the discussion boards are really the classroom discussion. So you get to take your time, but if there's any questions asked of you, go in and fix them, or if you have some insight, put in another post, look at mine. It's totally okay to look at how other people did things, but you need to go in there every night for just a little while. And then on Friday, or late Friday night or early Saturday morning, I try and grade the post from the second part of the week so that we're all caught up. But stay in the discussion boards during the week. And then, of course, the assignments due on early Sunday morning, and I start working on those right about the middle of the day on Sunday. And a couple people contacted me and said, I need a little help, and that's fine. We're only going to accept the assignment once on when it's due. Now, I know you've probably had in some other classes where you've been able to resubmit assignments, but you have to understand that this is a different subject matter. We don't want to get to the point where, okay, we see the feedback and, well, I know specifically what I got wrong, so I'm going to resubmit it and then it'll get corrected. I don't really know if a lot of learning occurs that way. If you just take your time and work that assignment on Saturday and then ask questions and go into the online session we have on Friday night, your assignment will be pretty good. I feel pretty good about that. So just one submission, and if something terrible comes up, just let me know, and we can work on that. So that's that. Couple other things. Now in the posts and in the assignments, the APA requirements in this course are pretty much just use good English sentences. Make sure they make sense and they're spelled reasonably correctly. I don't go in and look for, did you get tomato right? Because stuff like that, I have a hard time. Thank gosh for Google. Tomato, did you mean tomato? And but make sure the sentences make sense and they're well punctuated, and you'll be fine. What you're going to do, not this week, but in week 3, is you're going to start reporting your statistics in APA format. And that is important because you have to learn how formatting the statistic works. So when you start reading research papers and when you start working on yours, you have to report mean, median, mode, standard deviation, p-value, ANOVA, two-sample t-test. All this has to be reported correctly, but we'll start to get to that in week 3. The other thing is, when you're doing an assignment, when you're taking the information out of the online calculators, actually put the information in yourself. Don't copy and paste any of the output, because people tend then to put numbers in there like the standard error of the mean or p-values or things that they don't have any idea what they are, and that doesn't help. only actually write down the numbers and the statistics that you understand. And you'll learn this more as you get towards your dissertation. And unless you're a really sophisticated statistician, you don't report things that you don't know what they mean. They don't support your case. So just put down what the calculators tell you. The other thing that's good about the calculators is they allow you to explore concepts, and you couldn't do this in the old days with the old software-based statistical packages. But for instance, this week, it's pretty easy to take that usable stats calculator and you can create another distribution with the same mean and just a different standard deviation and see how that works and just do it right there in the calculator. So these calculators have great learning potential. So go in and use those to do that. All right, so I think we've got that covered. A couple other things on the content. Now, the main thing I wanted you to get out of the week 2 is, of course, understanding the normal distribution, what the z-scores are, the empirical rule, plus or minus 1 standard deviation, 68%. On the sampling, when you start to do your research, if you're going to do a dissertation on one high school, and you're going to do a dissertation on people that take music classes in your high school, well, your population's small. That's going to be a descriptive study, and no inferential statistics are needed. This course is about inferential statistics, and so you're going to have some kind of a sample, regardless of the nature of your dissertation. So bigger samples are always better, and stratified samples are always better if the benefits outweigh the costs. So we know in the United States that the ratio of women to men is about 51 to 49 now. So if they're going to do a sample to see who somebody's supporting, we know that past research has shown that women choose one party slightly higher than the other, and for men it's the opposite. So we could stratify that sample. Out of 1,000, we could have 550 go to women, 450 go to men. That would then eliminate the differences based on those strata. The other thing is, then we could go in to the women, and we know that married women and unmarried women vote differently. That's just been shown. So we could stratify the sample that way. And if we create these strata, we eliminate tendencies among different groups. The classic example is there was a study on attitudes towards homework, and Asian American students have a much different attitude towards homework, but they're a small part of the population. So a study was done and the sample was stratified. So even though every unit in the population has an equally likely chance of getting picked, the percentage of Asian students was so small that that may not have happened. So a certain proportion of the surveys were given to the Asian students to make sure they were included. So those two principles, stratification and large samples, are the most important sampling principles. And so those are the main things to take away from the week. So it was a good week. The other thing is, now next week you get a little bit of a breather. It's a little bit of theory. It deals with the central limit theorem, which is the reason why we can make conclusions about populations from samples. And there's some activities in there. That's kind of the week to catch your breath. It's week 3 through 7 that things start to get pretty challenging again. So far so good. The other thing is, I'd like you to try and, when it comes to the posting, don't work way ahead. Don't work a week ahead. Just do it on a daily basis, and because there's always things that come up. There's lots of knowledge that people in the class can contribute. So don't try and work too far ahead, and don't submit the Saturday assignment before Saturday night or Sunday, and then so that if something new has come up and you've learned something, you can put it in there. Other than that, I think we're doing a really good job. Feel free to call anytime this week, and we can catch our breath a little bit this week, and then week 3 gets pretty challenging again. So everybody have a good week, and I wish you well. Thank you. Bye.